And then you construct interview question. Okay, clarifiers. In constructing interview question, the first one is measure. We discussed with just now of how one's measure, and now you construct interview question. You put in clarifiers. Clarify resume information. Yeah? Clarify resume information. What do you want them to put in the resume? Seek missing information. And the filtering question. What are these qualifiers? Now, if you want an experience, for instance, an example, if you want an experienced person, these qualifiers would be you must have 10 years of work experience in the same capacity. So that become the disqualifiers. Okay. And then what is the past focus? Behavioral description. And the skills and knowledge focus, future focus, situational, and organizational fit focus. Past focus, what are the kinds of behavior that you want to see? Whether you want people who have had work experience, even a little bit. Now, this is something that is of value to the new work that you want to apply for. Okay. Now, past focus, you want, even though you are employing fresh graduates, but you may want people that have had some work experience. So what are these? Voluntary, doing work with an organization. You put down in your resume, I became a volunteer in some projects that was done by my lecturers. Okay, so you mentioned the project, you mention your role in that voluntary work. And that is actually past focus behavior, that you have some working experience with adult. Now, working with a lecturer is different from working in a group. Working with lecturers means the lecturers are way older than you are, so can act as a manager to you. And how do you work? What kind of work was involved in that voluntary work? And then maybe you have work part-time once in a while. So this work should have a value to the work that you wanted to apply for. So choose your part-time job properly. You cannot be always from secondary level until university level. For instance, working part-time as a salesperson in odd jobs in some small shops. When you're at university, you have to find part-time jobs that is related to a higher kind of jobs. You can do part-time work, doing writing work for your lecturers. That is part-time work, higher than a salesperson. You cannot keep on doing, becoming a pump station attendant during semester's break. Okay. When you're already at university level 3, you should have been able to work part-time or volunteer work in relation to your subject. So these are, these shows that how you can fit with the new demand, that you become more favorable as compared to other candidates. Now, example of clarifiers is, I noticed that you do not have, and this is structured interviews question. I noticed that you do not have an education section on your resume. Could you tell me about your educational background? And this is in relation to which one? Knowledge or skills? This question would relate to knowledge or skill. Yes,
Knowledge.
please. Knowledge. Yep, knowledge. Second one, I noticed a 3-year gap between two of your jobs. Could you tell me a little about that? So which part of the KSAO that is clarifying? Which one would be? Knowledge, skills, attitude, or others? Yes? Afif?
It may be attitude, I guess.
Attitude? Yes. Zubair, I would think so as well. Yeah. Afif, no answer. You were a bench hand at TNT. What is that? A bench hand. Okay. So you use terminology that is not common to the work environment. So they ask you for an elaboration. Why did you leave your job at McDonald's? So maybe you have a number of jobs in between. So they want to know more about why you left. These qualifiers, can you work at least one weekend a month? Okay, can you work overtime without notice? Do you have any felony conviction? Now, can you work overtime without notice? Which part of KSAO is it really in relation to? Alif, can you work overtime without notice? Which KSAO? Hmm? Umi?
Yes, doctor.
Afif, it's already week what? 10. We need to you know solve this mic audio video problem by now. It's not acceptable so it's not very very good. Now, Umi, what was my question, Umi?
No, doctor.
Yes, what was my question? You can't understand my question like that. I'm wondering, how are you understanding the whole lecture? Can you work overtime without notice? Which part of KSAO would that be? Alif? Aiman, which part of KSAOs would that be?
I think attitude.
Yep. Yeah. Attitude, correct. Thank you, Aiman. Because then they would maybe they just want to know whether you can, you are willing to put in more time when it's required. And I think all organizations are very much aware that they cannot be asking you all the time for overtime. It's wrong as well. But this is something that I've also encountered to be a determining factor that discriminate our internship during their internship, whether they are given more exposure during internship or not. When they're not willing to put in extra time, they keep on leaving at 5 p.m. Please, I've told my student who wants to listen lah. Okay, you want to be a manager. Everybody wants to be a manager. I think when I ask my student, what position do you want to do after graduation? Everybody wants to be a manager. Without realizing that nobody becomes a manager instantly after graduating. Yeah, I do not know where that comes from lah. So everybody wants to become a manager, fine. Yeah, so if they don't get a manager job, they're not interested. Yeah, but they go back at 5. So please, if you have time to do some part-time job, or you can work voluntarily in an organization, focus, look at the managers. Observe the top management. What time do they actually leave the organization? Is it on the dot at 5 p.m. or later? That will be my, so when even when I was working as a professor, even though I was doing my internship, my sabbatical attachment at a company recently, I don't actually leave exactly at 5. Okay, I leave an hour later without extra pay, because that's what top management do, and that's what we executive do. Managers cannot leave as early as that, not every day. So if you are the kind that leave on the dot, people see. Okay, I've heard remarks from colleagues how one or two of the student that they know because they know them from via me, left exactly every day at 5, because these students wants to travel, do not want to face the jam. Yeah, but that is part and parcel of the job. So if you leave exactly at 5 and you need to be asked to leave later, that's actually not very interesting, not going to put forward yourself in the job. Now, past focus question. When dealing with customers, it's inevitable that you are going to get some angry. Since these are past focus, and you want to you want to come up with some question that is past focus. Tell us about a time when a customer was angry at you. What did you do to fix it? So the question is in relation to the things that you did, and they're assuming that this this was experienced by you, and they wanted to know your reaction, because this may also be what you are going to face in the new job. So they wanted to know your reflection and how do you deal. That will actually relate back to your skills, the KSAOs. And then skill determinants. A customer brings you his checkbook and says that he cannot get it balanced. What is he probably doing wrong? How would you explain the attitude? This is very much related to accounting student. All right. So how would you actually, what will be your response? They wanted to know. So these are skill as well. They wanted to know your knowledge and your skill. What do you know? Example of future focus question. Suppose that, in the future, just a scenario that can happen. Suppose that you were scheduled to work on a Saturday. A friend calls on Thursday and says that you get to use a condo at the beach for free, but it has to be this weekend. What would you do? They wanted to know what? Your attitude, your skill. The same with a student that I scolded recently. Now, I asked her 2 weeks before the event, whether she's free on those days. And she said she was free. And 3 days or 2 days before the event, she said to me that she had to go to a Hari Raya opening house. And if possible, she do not want to come on that Saturday, and she can only come on a Sunday. And these are the kind of attitude that you do not want. And I thought that she would deal that with me. And the worst part is she actually approached my manager, a different manager, because the manager approached her for, some attire that she needs to use on the day. And the manager was consulting her specifically on that. The manager do not know about the arrangement between the timing between herself and myself. So what she did was she told the manager, is it possible for her not to come on Saturday? So I was seriously mad. And she was always a problem. I was doing just a favor for her, for getting her into the company for her internship. She couldn't get an internship position. So I was super angry, because it's really not good. It's no attitude. So I told her, first, I don't like her dealing that matter with the manager. It's not becoming. She should just deal that with me. That is my arrangement with her. She should not approach. One. Secondly, it's very unprofessional for her to actually, decided to go to the open house when she knows that, we're doing this event. I've already explained, she has already committed. So now. So in the future, I will not be proposing herself for the, I will actually tell the company not to consider her for a permanent position. I will, because I do not want, this is, yeah, I do not want her to be associated to me anymore. Okay, that's how serious I am when I'm referring a person to a colleague or a company. So this is the same. This is from, this, so it is attitude. Okay, that so, I was helping, but then I don't like. Yeah? So I told her so that it's not, I do not like, and I don't like the attitude. I don't like the way she handled the situation. I told her so she's very clear. But I will actually tell the human resource manager of the company not to consider. If they want to consider her for any job, it is of their, at their own. It's not my referral. Okay, it should not be my referral. Under what type of supervisor do you work best? Okay, so these are questions that you want to get that organizational fit. Give me 2 more minutes, and then you construct rating anchors. Fine with me. Okay, so you construct rating anchors. Okay, correct, incorrect approach, typical answer approach, key issue approach. So once you have done the questioning, you construct rating anchors. Okay, anchors. Okay, sample question. You are working as a teller and have a long line waiting of customers. A customer runs to a front of the line and yells that he bounced a check and was charged 20, which caused other checks to bounce. He then swears at you and tells you that he will not leave until the problem is solved. You are unable to check on his account because the computer is down. So what would you do? So what would you do? So this is how you construct the scoring. So you have scale of 1 to 5. Okay, I've rounded this with red circles so that you know these are not just numbers, they are scale. The scale of 5, the best answers would be, because I do not have the information and the line is long, I would call my supervisor and have her talk to the customer in the office away from everyone else. So this is one of the highest scores. Okay, if the interviewee were able to actually respond in such way. And then it goes further down. The least favorable answer to you, okay, from the interviewee would be, I would tell him to get to the end of the line and wait his turn. I would ignore him until he went away. So this shows your skill, your knowledge, and your attitude. Okay, right. So what you do as an interviewer, you have this key issue scoring. Okay, so you score, okay, whether the person, okay, based on this scoring of 1 to 5, you then score, okay, according to this characteristic of where the person, this interviewee, falls on in acknowledging the long line and concern for other customers, in recognizing the needs to calm the customers. Okay, so you give them 5, 3, 1, on this. So that will becomes your determiner. This helps you determine whether the candidate is suitable, okay, for the job. All right. So based on this, okay, we'll end at this. Okay.